Facebook,
Okay.
Instagram, YouTube, and
Cool.
I think that's it so far. So yeah, I think we're live. Maybe we'll wait a few minutes
Okay.
for people to come on. Well, it's the middle of the day, so I
Yeah, you
honestly
never
don't
know.
know if people are gonna log in or not.
Right.
But
Well,
yeah,
depending on their time zone, maybe they're
that's
watching this
true.
during their lunch break or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, what program do you use to do is it a blog or a video blog or
No, it's a podcast, and I'll find my notes and tell you
okay,
what it's called.
okay,
Uh, let's see.
oh,
And mostly I've been just doing them on Zoom,
oh,
um,
got
and
it.
then recording them from there.
I see.
Um,
Okay,
and I'm not the most sophisticated person on these things, and so but um, my kind of I I through my work at Georgetown we connected with a really great like small communications firm, and they've got all sorts of ideas about how to do things like the various templates and formats to do podcasting and that sort of thing. So I'll find it and send you to
okay.
you.
All right.
Let's see, is it? Oh, it might be in here. Uh, okay. I'm not finding it right away, but I will find it for you. I promise.
No worries.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, this is very informal, so
Okay.
no worries about anything.
Okay.
Okay,
Good.
I think we'll get started here because, like, I
Okay.
honestly, I doubt people are gonna log in or
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah.
So, whatever. But yeah, actually, so well, I'm gonna re-edit this later, so I'm gonna
Yep.
cut stuff out. But I'll just do a little intro here, and then I'll introduce you. You can tell your story.
Sure.
Okay. Hi, this is Eric Galvez again with the Disability Gorillas podcast, I guess. So, yeah, I've got a very special guest today, Craig Lustig. Um, yeah, I've known Craig for years. We've been very involved with the young adult cancer survivor community. So, yeah, I invited Craig to join us today because I want to learn a little bit more about his story and what he's doing now. And then we're gonna put him in the disability gorillas hot seat, so we really get to know him. So, Craig, if you want to go ahead and introduce
Sure.
yourself,
Yeah.
um, let me switch screens here. I'll
Cool.
figure this out. Okay, go ahead.
Good. Go ahead. Okay, Eric, I gotta tell you, when you reached out, I was just so thrilled. It was such a pleasure to hear from you and kind of reconnect and talk about, you know, the constant stream of things that relate to life in the young adult cancer community. But just briefly about myself, so I don't really qualify anymore as a young adult cancer survivor because I'm actually 61. Um, but
Wow.
I was diagnosed with a brain tumor uh, in my mid 20s in 1992. And, only through some luck and the ability that I had decent health insurance and things like that a lot of folks are familiar with, did I find my way to not only really good clinical care, but actually the ability to participate in a clinical trial. Eric knows, I know that when you have a brain tumor, it's a very, very rare thing. And of course, there are many different kinds of brain tumors, so they're all considered rare. And so there's not a community to immediately connect with and say, where do I go for this and that? So I was treated primarily, I had surgery in New York City at Mount Sinai Hospital, and that was uh, a tough experience, but in terms of the care I got there, just extraordinary. And then I found this clinical trial kind of down the street again in New York City at Memorial Sloan Kettering, where they were attempting to treat my tumor type, which the standard of care, meaning what normally they would do for you, is just give you radiation after surgery. But of course, um, cranial radiation comes with a lot of side effects. And so the goal was to, in this particular clinical trial, to use chemotherapy instead of um, cranial radiation. And so small, rare tumor type, small trial, but I went on the trial, received chemotherapy for about 6 months on an outpatient basis, and the tumors just disappear. It's extraordinary, except that for every single person on the trial, within about 10 to 18 months, the tumor comes back. So when I had my recurrence, um, then it was sort of, well, I'm not going to go back to the standard of care and just get whole brain radiation at this point. What should I do? Um, and maybe this is one of my sort of early connections, if you will, with the young adult cancer community. So I had a good friend, and of course at this time there aren't all the resources on the web, but I did have a good friend who was a physician and had access to medical libraries and was looking up information. And he determined that actually my brain tumor had was related, um, in terms of its, if you will, sort of components to the same kind of testicular cancer, and in particular what Lance Armstrong had. So he figured out how to get us out to meet with one of the docs who treated Lance Armstrong in Indianapolis, and we went out there and we said, you know, what do you think and should we do? And then I went back to Memorial Sloan Kettering. I had some more chemotherapy, and at that point they gave, and I think is what they kind of did for all of us, um, a low dose of radiation to where the tumor um, had recurred, and that was the magic formula. And so now, if you are an adolescent or young adult diagnosed with this tumor and it's caught early enough and it's caught by the right person and they know what they're doing, you can actually avoid surgery altogether. You would go for a course of chemotherapy, and then they could give you some radiation as, if you will, that kind of insurance policy. And then you kind of go from there in terms of what may have been the effects of the tumor, what it may have done to other functions in your brain, and just to transition. Um, so in my case, the one of the tumors I had during about my 2+ years of treatment, um, was pressing on my pineal gland, and then one was pressing on the pituitary gland, which is like right between the eyes there. And the pituitary gland controls all sorts of functions in your body. And so for the last 30+ years, I have been on a regimen of replacement hormones that I take every single day, and I am try to be good friends with my endocrinologist, um, and it's kept me going all these years. So, and I have a range of other side effects as well, but that's the basic story of my treatment. And I guess, Eric, should we move to talk a little bit about kind of my, I don't know, my finding the world, or the world of young adult cancers finding me, or where should we go with
Yeah,
that?
well, actually, can I ask you a couple questions first? Like,
Of course.
I'm curious. Like, did you find a lot of other young adult survivors at the time? I know this was like what you said 30 years ago.
Yes. So the answer is no. And in my case, well, this is still the case. So I currently work at a cancer center, but when you're diagnosed with cancer, it's either categorized as you have an adult type tumor, or you have a pediatric or childhood type of tumor. There's no such thing in most cases. It's rare. There are a couple of places in the country where they do this, but um, they don't have something called the the clinical care suite or something for the young adult cancer patients. And so the majority of my care was actually in pediatrics. Um,
Okay.
and more of that's evolved, but I would say still largely because the population, just the total number of young adults who get cancer, while it's been increasing, unfortunately, it's still relatively small compared to the larger population of older adults who get cancer. And so, with rare exception, um, if you're a young adult, it's really going to depend on the type of cancer you have, and then it'll be determined where you get treated.
Okay. Now, can I ask you, like, why did they lump you in with the young adult survivors? Like, I got lumped in at the time with the geriatric, but I was
Right.
just curious. How did they categorize you as a
A pediatric
pediatric patient?
patient.
Yeah.
Well, in my case, it was about, and I think this is a philosophy that I really believe in, which is who's got the best expertise, right? So you want to go to, if you will, what is in a medicine or anything else in life? It's practice, practice, practice. You want to go to the the doc and the team who have the greatest experience with your tumor type. And in my case, and also because that's where the clinical trial was, that was in pediatric
I
oncology.
see. Okay. Gotcha.
But I will tell you that it was, I don't know if what the right word is, maybe peculiar, if nothing else,
Yeah.
that on a fairly regular basis, because I was going initially for outpatient chemotherapy, later on having to go inpatient for other reasons. But, and I was working in advertising at the time. So I'd be like in my business clothes. And then, you know, at the end of the month, I would have to go sit in my business clothes in the pediatric oncology
Okay.
clinic, which would have like the game room and
Yeah.
toys, and it was weird.
Wow. Yeah, I bet. Yeah, like I'm on the total other spectrum. I was kind of lumped in with the geriatric
Yeah,
population, and
and
I could
like you
not
said,
relate to them
yeah,
at all.
yeah. So I was stuck in peds. Um, you were stuck in the adult service, right, as they call it, probably. And this means that, especially when you're talking about brain tumors, not only are you going to find very, very few other young adult brain tumor patients, but so you're stuck in an environment that feels uncomfortable. You're a fish out of water, and so you're not going to find, in more broadly, sort of the young adult cancer patient community. It's going to be hard, and then specific to your brain tumor, you're not going to find almost anybody because it's all rare, and unless you're at a again, hopefully most folks with brain tumors are going to specialized centers, and so maybe there's a chance, but it was certainly a lonely environment.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, yeah. Luckily, at the time, like the whole young adult survivor movement was
Yeah,
forming when I was diagnosed. So I got linked in with, I think it was I'm too young for this, or which is now stupid
right,
cancer.
right.
But yeah, it was just really important to meet other people who understood those experiences. And I really applaud you for what you're doing with the young adult survivor movement because that was key for me. Like, that got me involved in everything. So, yeah, I figure, if I did get diagnosed, I'm glad I found other people that were going through things at the same
Sure.
time. So it was great.
Yeah, yeah. I think that so for me, yeah, I was gravitating towards wanting to do some work and give back, if you will, to the brain tumor community.
Yeah,
But where it really started was with the Children's Brain Tumor Foundation, which may be a group that you're familiar
yeah,
with, based in New
yeah.
York. And, if you will, these are the people who cared about me, and maybe they had little ones. These were parents who had little ones who were being treated for brain tumors, and I was obviously really different, but they cared about me. And so and they saw my value in terms of what I could kind of kind of bring to their efforts.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna move on here. I kind of let's see if this works. So, like, I definitely want to know. So, what are you doing now?
Um, well, I'm actually maybe finishing another chapter in my life. So for the past 12 years, I have been at the Lombardi Comprehensive Cancer Center, which is at Georgetown University. And specifically there, I've been working with GI cancer patients.
Okay.
And there's been another, if you will, sort of unfortunate intersection with our young adult crowd in that there's been a real spike in the diagnosis of gastrointestinal cancers in young adults. I'm talking very young. So we're seeing 20-year-olds getting colorectal cancer, or in some cases just stomach cancer, or some of our other, if you will, cancer types that are included under our umbrella. And we don't really understand it, and we don't understand a lot of things in terms of, are these actually really different diseases in the younger population? Of course, um, familiar to a lot of us who are young adult cancer survivors, period, is that the issue of delayed diagnosis is really significant.
Yeah. So actually,
Ending that job shortly is the end
yeah.
of it.
So where exactly are you now? You're in New York City or what?
No, I'm in Washington D.C.
Okay, in DC. Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Man,
Yep.
so like, are you still very involved in the young adult survivor movement or?
Um, Less so, but some.
Okay,
So, for instance, I was just looking at, so this later this week is the I guess it's an annual conference of stupid cancer called CancerCon.
okay,
Um, and that's happening here in DC. Um,
wow,
so I would say that I I certainly, versus the involvement that I had many years ago, much less than at this point, but certainly I try to, if you kind of
yeah.
keep my hand in it, be whatever way I can be useful and helpful, if nothing else, to provide a little bit of the ancient history and how things happened. I would say to you that the we made really significant strides um, in those earlier days, um, and and some of the organizations that were kind of grown out of those earlier times and conversations and meetings and whatnot have continued and thrived. But it's not,
Yeah.
maybe I wouldn't say I was disappointed, but it sort of countered my expectations. I really thought there would have been a more robust kind of um, advocacy community, specifically in the AYA space.
Like,
There is.
what were you looking for? I'm just curious.
I think that, and maybe it's so there are groups like Stupid Cancer, obviously doing really important things around kind of community building. Um, I think that, and maybe it's my experience of working at a cancer center. I think um, some of the support services and things like that that may be available for more broadly for large cancer communities that are larger, whether that's the breast cancer community or if it's the lung cancer community. There just aren't that level of sort of service and connection. You can find the groups like Stupid Cancer, and they are doing really important work, but it's just more limited.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because like I remember like when I was in the young adult survivor community, I lost like I think like two or three friends in a span of like 3 months. So like I'm kind of hoping that I kind of got burned out just because like of losing so many friends in such a short period of time, and
Hmm.
I've kind of been moving away from that, but I'm kind of being drawn back in. So like there's definitely a need, but I'm just curious, like, what do you think needs to be done to to help that population?
Uh, it's a good question, and I should have prepared for it, but I didn't. But
Okay, it's all good.
I'll give you a couple of top of my head thoughts. I think um, that maybe there almost needs to be an assessment of the community and what are the patient
Yeah,
needs. How are they different? Let's define it. And there's literature out there and studies that have been done. Sort of revisiting though. Um, kind of again, sort of what's the review of the literature and what other things do we know? How these things have changed. I don't know the answer. Let's say to
yeah,
say how have things changed for young adult cancer patients uh, 30 years ago when I was being treated versus now.
yeah.
Some of it, of course, is about how treatments have changed, sciences,
Yeah,
events, and all
exactly.
that. But I
Yep.
think almost whatever you want to call it, an environmental scan of like, hey, where's this community at?
Yeah,
Are people still very lost in the wilderness? Are they getting the services they need? What are we doing about issues like delayed diagnosis?
yeah,
Um, are the is our cancer care system really able to deliver the kinds of other, if you will, kind of non-medical supports that this community needs because they're different
yeah.
than the average cancer
Oh, yeah,
patient who
yeah,
walks in the door. So, and the I don't know the answer to that.
yeah.
My
That's not an
instinct
easy
is
question to
that
answer,
right
but
is right. So I would say we need to, if you will do kind of a reset to say where are we at, and then where maybe the other part of it is where do we need to go from here? What are the priorities we need to work in? Maybe it is related to the impact of financial toxicity on these
yeah,
younger patients. Maybe it's related to family issues. I don't know what the priority issues are
right,
anymore.
right.
And I think when we did this work earlier on, easily 20 plus years ago, um, we were simply just, again, I think trying to find a community, build a community, can
Right.
bring people together because everyone was so disparate. Again, because just in terms of the absolute numbers, there are not as many um, young adult patients as there are in the older adult
Right,
cancer
right.
community. So it's just harder to have, and maybe that's another issue, which is like,
Yeah,
how do you build and sustain a community for these folks? What happens when you go from being a 30-year-old cancer survivor, Craig Lustig, and now you're 60,
yeah,
and I would love to be connected and help, but like, what's my relevance to that person who was diagnosed at the age of 24, 27, 28, 30? And
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah. I
So I
mean,
just asked you, I gave you a bunch of questions back to your question, which is probably not helpful.
no, it makes total sense.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I think in terms of the social support, the adult survivor community is very, very strong. But now we got to move into the scientific and kind of this is kind of where the rubber hits the road, and like we need to start focusing on the actual science of things. So
Yeah.
I think it's moving in the right direction, but it's just taking a very long time because these diseases are very, very different. So like they're very complex. So it's going to take some time, but I think there is potential there.
And what do we do? Let's say with the patients that we're seeing in let's say the GI cancer environment, where suddenly we have this spike in patients diagnosed with GI cancers at a much younger age. I don't think that we ever had that conversation
Yeah.
earlier on because that particular, what do we want to call it, sort of cohort of young adult patients didn't exist. That's
Right.
something
Right.
that's only been happening over the past couple of decades. So,
Yep.
there's a lot of important questions that need to be asked and discussed.
Yeah, that's the thing with the breakthroughs in science and technology. We're just going to bring up more problems and more issues that we need to deal with. So,
Right.
yeah,
I mean, I think the one thing is that connectedness is easier to
Oh
do
yeah,
now, right? So
yeah,
if you and I said, let's go out and whatever, collect 10 of our young
yeah,
adult from whatever age they are, let's go out and collect 10 of our, young adult pals from the past and just sit them down and say, let's powwow. We could do that in about, half an hour, I'm sure.
yeah,
But yeah, so it's a lot easier to get people together. But again, it's a small community.
yeah. Totally agree with you there. I'm gonna shift gears a little bit.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put you on the Disability Gorillas hot seat.
yeah.
So let me just get everything ready here.
Okay.
Okay, hold on a second. All right. So, Craig Lustig, are you ready to enter the hot seat now?
All right. Let's do it.
Okay. Okay. All right.
Set your expectations very low.
Okay. All right. So the first question in the hot seat. Here we go.
Okay.
Let's see. What is your personal theme song?
Oh, my personal theme song. I'm good. There's a Pink song, a song by Pink. I can't remember the name of it. Raise the Glass.
By Pink?
Yeah.
I don't think I know that song. Oh,
Or maybe that's just part of the lyrics. I'll have to come up with it.
okay. You want to sing it? I'm just kidding. All right. I'm gonna ask you the next question here.
Yep.
So, who is your personal hero or heroes?
Huh. Personal hero. Right now, I have a friend who has been going through some job stuff as I have. Her name is Ivy Ahmed, and she's my personal hero right now because she has been not just sort of kind and supportive, but she's been really thoughtful and solution oriented. And so, like right now, she's my personal hero because she's on my side, but she's helping me to be kind of solution oriented.
Okay.
That's a long-winded answer, right? I'll go with Ivy.
Okay. Let me go on. Hold on a second here. All right. Next question. Let's see. What is your favorite hobby?
Singing.
Singing. Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like what
I
kind
belong to a couple of different choirs over time, and
Really?
yeah, I enjoy singing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Huh?
How long have you been doing that?
Let's see. Well, I sang in college with an a cappella group, and then since then, for a number of years, I sang with the Gaymen's Chorus of Washington. I sang with the choir at my synagogue, a couple of different places. I sort of come and go from where when I have time and all that. So yeah, I've been singing in a while.
So did you have any solos or like? I don't know if you do this.
I'm not a solo guy. I enjoy
Okay.
just being part of the choir. I've always said like maybe I'll be reincarnated as somebody's backup singer.
Okay. I don't know if you knew, but I sang in in an a cappella group in college also. So
Oh really? Huh.
which is kind of weird. 'Cause,
Well, I'm
like,
gonna have to compare notes about that one.
Yeah, like, I never sang before.
And that's
college, but,
so
yeah.
I'm really this is a thing I can say I'm really proud of. I actually helped to start my a cappella group at college.
Really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I've now been around for close to 40 years.
Do you guys have any recordings or anything?
Yeah. I'll send it to you.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure they got a YouTube channel and stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty funny for me. Like, I'm your typical jock guy because like I used to play a lot of sports in high school. So like when my friends from high school found out that I was in an acapella group in school, it was just funny because like
I mean,
totally out of the
yeah,
out of the stepping out of the box for me. So pretty weird.
good for you.
But yeah, like we used to sing like pop songs,
Yeah.
like a lot of R&B, like
Oh,
90s
okay. That's
R&B
very
and
cool.
stuff. So yeah, honestly, the only reason we did it was to like woo girls. So it was kind of a funny thing. Just get a bunch of group of guys together and just
Yep.
sing to a girl and embarrass her. So it was a lot of fun. But hold on a second. I think the music didn't repeat. Hold on. Gonna play this again. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna go to the next question here.
Yep.
Easy. Okay, this one's gonna get you. Right? In mathematics, what is an integer? Come on, man. This is like
I should know
elementary
this.
school
I
stuff.
have a look. I have just about to enter high schooler. I should know this.
Okay.
I was pretty good in math.
Yeah.
It's typically it's I want to say it's an odd number, and that's a prime number. I'm thinking about numbers that can't be divided by. You got me on the spot, and I
Okay.
don't know.
All right.
Sorry.
Integer is a number that is a whole number that
Yeah.
is not a fraction.
Oh,
So there you
that's
go.
straightforward enough.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Next question here
Yep.
is coffee or tea?
Mostly coffee.
Coffee. Like, do you make it yourself or do you go out and get it?
Well, because I've been working from home telework for 5 years, I mostly make it myself, and because somebody gave me a bunch of espresso, which I hadn't previously gotten into making espresso. Then I had to buy myself a little like baby espresso machine, and I've been making espresso, which I enjoy.
Now, I'm kind of new to coffee, so like that's like it's like a shot or something or
You can do it different ways. So you could like the espresso beans are of a particular type, and then you grind them up fairly fine, and you put them in the espresso maker is sort of really pressurized water on it, so you get a stronger coffee. And so it gives you shots of coffee out of the machine, and then you can foam some milk and do other things, or you can just have the shot of espresso and throw in a little sugar or something like that if you want. So it's a new thing for me. I'm
okay.
trying I'm trying to try new things in my life.
Okay. Yeah, like I got a Keurig, a coffee machine for
Okay.
Christmas, so like I've been playing around with that, and I'm kind of a tea guy at first, but yeah, I've been kind of slowly shifting towards coffee. So I'm trying to learn
Okay.
as much as I can about
Well, if you come visit, I'll make you some nice espresso. How
it.
about
Okay.
that?
So is it really that strong?
It's not that strong. No, it's a bit stronger. The beans are okay. I know this because and you don't know this, didn't know this about me. So before like brain tumor and cancer life, what did I do? I worked in advertising, and I worked on the Folgers coffee account at one of the
Okay.
agencies I worked at. And so what you learn is that so the more you roast a coffee bean, this is way off topic. The more you roast the coffee bean, actually, so it gets um, stronger, if you will, but the amount of caffeine in that bean goes down. So, like the coffee itself is stronger, the caffeine content is less. So, like dark roast beans have less caffeine, or
Really
espresso bean, yeah, because they're just roasted differently. And again, the roasting process, again, the longer you roast it, the caffeine gets sort of, I don't know, evaporates from it.
interesting. I had no idea. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Learn something new. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Next question here. By the way, there are 20 questions, so
Oh
yeah.
gosh.
But what is your favorite website?
I guess, and this is gonna say, I mean, not that I don't sound kind of nerdy most of the time anyway. I'm gonna say I have been spending a lot of time reading interesting articles at theatlantic.com
Okay.
because it's like a place. Oh, and oh my gosh, I have another favorite website. Maybe I should go with this. So this is a really cool podcast that I've been listening to called Throughline. And the cool thing about it, at least for me, is that every episode is kind of long and it's divided into three parts. And they look back, they take some whatever the topic is, but they look way back at the history of that topic. So I don't know, like they did something on ketchup, but
Okay.
they went back in time to learn about like, well, ketchup really was a development of out of something called fish sauce, and there were other things, and sometimes it's much more serious than a discussion of ketchup, but or they'll talk about like, I don't know, how did we get the U.S. tax system, and like why did we start taxing this versus that, and why did we tax, where did this all come from? So it's a really great website where you kind of what always engages me is learning about the history of whatever the issue is, because otherwise I just um yeah, you can hear what's going on now, but you have no context for it.
Okay. Next question here
Yeah,
is, what is the best movie snack?
the popcorn for sure.
Okay. I didn't want
And
to be
I
biased.
popcorn with light butter. I don't like a lot of butter personally.
See, that's the thing. Like when I get popcorn at a movie theater, I'm pretty much like halfway done with it before the movie even starts.
That's true.
That's why I stay away from. I stay away from popcorn.
That's true.
Okay. Next question. Magic. Do you think it's cool or is it not cool?
I'll go with Cole. Yeah, yeah.
Like,
I like
who's the
it.
best magician?
It depends on the magician, but when it's done right, and when
Okay.
it's very cool.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Next question here. What is the capital of Oregon?
I don't think it's Portland.
Nope. Have you been there? Have you been to Oregon? No cheating.
No. But then I was thinking about like Bend. I'm thinking of other places in Oregon. Salem?
That's right. You got
Oh,
it. Salem.
okay.
Very good. Okay, next question here is, what is your favorite childhood memory?
Hmm. Okay. So because I am old enough and have a very, very like faint memory of this, but the when the astronauts landed on the moon
Oh,
for
okay.
okay, we had one TV in our house, antenna only, black and white, and I have this faint memory of my parents waking me up, and maybe I don't know, maybe I was 5 or something, um, and to go and watch not just the landing, but like actually the astronauts walking on the moon.
Oh, that's cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, let me get to the next question here. So, do you like movies or TV shows better? Which do you prefer? And I noticed that there's a typo there. So,
Yeah. I'm gonna go with TV shows.
do you, like, what's your favorite TV show right now?
Well, I generally people think this is strange, but and my husband I think cringes when I talk about this. So like I kind of like shows where there are serial killers.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And then the other part of it is I kind of like British shows with serial
Yeah.
killers. So
Okay.
the problem is like at one point I was just like getting it's too many. So like first it was the serial killer show took place in England in the UK, right? But then it took place in Scotland, and I could only understand like half of what they said. It
Okay.
was sort
Okay.
of like the closed caption. And then at some point I found a serial killer show that took place in the Shetland Islands, and I could understand 10% of what they said at best. Yeah, that's
Okay.
okay.
All right.
The serial killers, it is for me.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so I found out you're a singer. So in karaoke, are you give me the mic or let's go home?
I'm because I'm I'm not an outgoing person. Like I tend to be a little bit, like the quiet guy in the room. So if you said to me, "Okay, you and I together are gonna go up there and give us the mic," I'll do that.
Okay, so let me ask you this then. So then, what's your go-to song in karaoke?
Oh man, it might be like an old school song like "Foreigner" or
Okay,
"Journey" or one of
gotcha.
those. I have to think about that.
Okay,
All right.
okay. So next question here: dogs or cats?
Dogs, I'm
Dogs.
like super allergic to
Yeah.
cats, so
Okay.
they tend to like me, and unfortunately, I don't like them.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Okay. Next question: eating out or delivery?
Hmm. Eating out.
Eating
Yeah,
out.
I think eating out because it's if you if you're eating out with family or friends, and it's a way to sort of be with people. It's a good way to socialize and try new things. And I'm a terrible cook, so
Okay.
I guess yeah, delivery comes second. If
Okay.
I'm having it, look, if I'm having a night at home watching my serial killer show, the delivery is great.
Okay. All right. Next question: mobile phone or tablet?
Mobile phone,
Mobile phone. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Next question.
And let me just say, I am I as I don't think I was ever the most particularly smart person from a technology standpoint, and it's not gotten better. So
Okay.
whatever I can do on my phone, I do on my phone.
Okay. All right. Next question: pineapple on pizza.
That is a
Yes or no?
criminal thing and should not be done.
Would not.
That should be an arrestable offense, I would say.
Are you from the East Coast or?
I am from New
Okay.
York originally, and so
Okay. Gotcha. Okay.
yeah, pineapple on pizza is like if you walked into any of the decent pizza places near where I like grew up and said put pineapple on my pizza, maybe these days they would do it but yeah, oof, never ever heard of
No.
that.
No go.
No, no, no.
Gotcha. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Next question: smell of fresh cut lawn or cookies?
Cookies.
Cookies.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I could go either way with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the kind of guy that likes to be outside, so I
Yeah.
do like fresh cut lawns. So, okay, next question. Favorite place to travel?
Mm. Hmm. Uh, that's so hard. Favorite place. I gotta pick one place. Well, the place I've been a couple of times in the last few years that I have just loved is Spain.
Yeah,
Spain has been wonderful.
like
We
Madrid.
took my son there last year during like his spring break, and we all
Oh,
had a great time. I've been
right.
there a little bit for work over the years.
No, do you speak Spanish or?
No,
Oh,
un poquito, right? Well, just a
okay.
tiny, tiny bit.
Did they
Yeah,
speak English over there or?
I'm sorry.
Do they speak English
Oh
over
yeah,
there?
oh, yeah. Most places, yeah. Like if you're in Madrid or whatever, yeah. And it's like Madrid is just this extraordinary city. It's it functions so efficiently. It's incredible. Their public transportation is great. The food is great. The people have
Yeah,
just the zeal for life. Nice place.
cool. Definitely, that's it. Definitely one of my places I want to go
Okay,
visit.
good.
So, two more questions. One of them is tell us anything we didn't know, just anything.
Um, that I'm kind of obsessed with eating blueberries.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
eat a lot of blueberries.
Well, they're healthy, so
They
they're
are, but like I just enjoy them. I had
yeah.
like I
Okay.
don't know, like
Okay.
this week alone, I just had like blueberries in my oatmeal, and then we were out at a breakfast place, and I got blueberries in my waffle, and then somebody came over. We had a cookout, and they brought a like homemade cake thing, and one section of it had blueberries on top, which was specifically done for me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. And last question
yeah.
here. Okay. Is there any words of advice for anyone, like survivors or scientists or researchers or any word, any just in general?
I think that something I've tried to focus on in my life, broadly, and maybe it's applicable across the board, which is that it's really important to what are your priorities, right? And so for me, I always start with my health because I can't be any good to my family or in my job or if I don't have my health. Um, and I think for those young adult survivors out there, um, remember that you're your own best advocate and that there are lots of people around who want to be helpful to you, but you got to speak up. You got to tell folks, what you want and what you don't want, and make sure your voice is heard. And it can be hard in the environments that where folks are receiving cancer treatment, but if you don't speak up, you're not going to get.
Right. Yeah, that's really, yeah, we got to be vocal. So, I mean,
You gotta be vocal, and you have to remember that at the end of the day, this is your life and you have a voice. You are the voice, or at least the primary voice in determining what happens to you. And I remember at least when I was first diagnosed, and I was at this age where like there would be certain doctors I was going to see, and I was like 27, and they'd be like inviting my parents to come into the room, and I was like, that's not appropriate unless I say they can be in the room, right? Maybe we're going to talk about things that are of a personal nature, and I don't really want to share that with them. So there you go.
okay, cool. Well, that was a hot seat. Thank you
All
for
right.
sitting in the hot seat with me, Craig. But yeah, this was great. Like I'll post this later on, but I definitely want to say thank you for participating in this, and yeah, let's see where everything goes with the disability gorillas. But thank you very much
And
for sitting down and chatting with us.
and I promise that once I make my way back to my podcast, you'll be on, and we'll figure out what we want to talk about again. So,
Okay.
but thank you. I hope you're well and things are going well. And if there's anything at all I can do for you, don't hesitate.
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you very much. I'm gonna
All
go ahead.
right.
I'll go ahead and end this right now. And
Okay.
let me see if I can